What can be done to destigmatize PTSD in veterans?
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Admiral Mullen, said in a recent address that one of his highest priorities is to reduce the stigma of PTSD because he knows the enormous percentage of our combat vets with PTSD. And if it's stigmatized, you don't get the care that you need. And whether PTSD or something else is responsible for the suicide rate, we have a remarkable suicide rate right now. And one of the things that might be useful and certainly should be explored is destigmatizing PTSD. Thank goodness our winners of the Congressional Medal of Honor have come out in public and they've made a DVD to their fellow soldiers, sailors, Marines, saying there's nothing wrong with you if you have PTSD, and if you have it, get help. Now, I think we can go further. I think there should be a medal, just like the Purple Heart, for our military servicemen and women who develop PTSD due to their exposure to trauma on the job. The PTSD injury is a real injury. It's a medical injury. We compensate for it. We recognize it. It's excluded as one of the ways, one of the eligible wounds for the Purple Heart. And I'm meeting with my local chapter of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, and I'm actually treating someone from that chapter for his PTSD. The chapter believes that there shouldn't be a Purple Heart for PTSD just yet, but they are moving toward accepting the idea that there should be a separate medal. There should be honor and recognition. I'm working with a Vietnam veteran named Tom Mahaney, who has his own private, nonprofit, veteran service organization. He's trying to do two things. One is to get a medal, a separate medal for those with PTSD, and the other is to change the stop-loss program that allows for so many rotations for military now who are serving in Iraq and in Afghanistan. So, first of all, I think the medal for PTSD would help. It would give us honor. And even if a person doesn't want to wear the medal, the fact that the Pentagon says we recognize that your PTSD is a product of your service, and in fact, you're going to keep the war with you, possibly for the rest of your life, and we honor you, that's important. The family members would take that very, very seriously. I actually believe this is a medal that will not be worn. It'll be placed in a drawer, but it'll mean so much to the son or daughter or wife or husband of someone who served in combat and has PTSD, and their family can be proud of them. The second thing is we do have to do something about multiple rotations. I'm not an expert on military deployment. I enter into that conversation cautiously, but it appears to me that because our troops have to deal with redeployment, and they're at an age and a stage in their life when they're transitioning from adolescence to young adulthood, and this is drawn out for quite a few years. So they come back, more and more they're coming back to wives and kids. It's not the short tour of duty, intense and dangerous, but 13 months and you're out that we had in Vietnam. It's not even the way it was in World War II or Korea. It's a redeployment cycle, and you're brought back to civilian life and family life, and then you're sent away from that. And also you're in touch with your family when you're overseas, because we now have a much different communication. I believe there's something about that roughly 5 years of exposure to redeployment, where you don't do all that well in civilian life and you don't do all that well in adapting to the military circumstance, that is creating this high level of PTSD and this high level of suicide. I know the Pentagon and the military psychiatrists are doing all that they can to cope with this. And I know that those of us who are stateside and civilian want to do more and want to see more. We don't have the remedy yet. The problem is real. The least we can do is to work together to destigmatize PTSD. And I'd like to see a symbol of honor for those who serve and who come back with this injury.